Shumai, and welcome to Two Welsh Dads, the podcast where two proud Welsh fathers talk life, parenting, and everything in between. I'm Stefan, and I'm joined by my fellow dad and friend, Glyn, and also Alhed. This is our 10th episode, so grab a cuppa and join us as we share who we are, why we do this, and what you can expect from the journey ahead. Shumai, pawb.
Shumai. You nearly got thrown off tangent by going, there's three Welsh dads.
Yeah, yes. But I think I pulled it off, okay? Hopefully.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey everyone, we've got Alhed in the house. How's it going, Al?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come on. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this kind of thing and share what I've been doing and share my story and just meet other dads and see what they've been doing as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. So before we get into the nitty gritty of what we're going to talk about today, as we always do, we have a mindful moment for anyone who's listening to the podcast. If they're, returning from work, had a stressful day, come home, the usual chaos of the household that maybe encircling them, screaming kids, etc. Just a moment to calm down and be present and just give yourself some time to.
Joe, I feel like I need one tonight. Yeah, I feel it.
That is
slightly more on edge.
It's going to be a bit of a different one. I'm going to steal this off Jack Reese, and it's pretty much just a really nice metaphor. He introduced it to me as a metaphor to help men connect and actually share a deeper level of how they're feeling, because I think I can certainly say that I'm guilty of going fine, or yeah, I'm all right, and not really going any deeper than that. So the idea is to describe your feelings as a metaphor, and we're going to use the weather. So how you're feeling, describe yourself as a type of weather. And I'm happy to start and kind of introduce it. But I thought it was a nice tool to kind of delve a little bit deeper. You can do it to yourself, you can share it with a friend, you can share it with people. So
if you want to lead us on this, because I don't know where to go.
Sorry?
If you want to lead us, because I'm not sure where to go and what to say.
Yeah, I'll have a go at the first one. So this week I have been thinking about this, and just before there's a thunderstorm, the atmosphere builds up and there's just tension. And I feel like there's a lot of tension in me right now, not in a good way. And it's either going to turn into some kind of thunderstorm, or I'm in the last 24 hours, I've started to try and focus on trying to stop it turning into a thunderstorm. So I've gone for a run today. I did a little meditation. I did some journaling of how
wow.
And I feel better now.
Yeah.
But yeah, yesterday, I don't know. There's a lot of reason, but that's definitely how I'm feeling.
Oh, bro.
Okay.
Sorry to hear that.
Is obviously we're on this podcast to discuss what we've been doing and our men's mental health. So please, obviously, I've come onto your podcast. Please don't feel like I'm trying to take over. But if there is something that you want to talk about, then I'm sure myself and Stefan would be happy to listen. And you never know, maybe you opening up will be an insight into anybody listening to get them to open up as well. If that's something you feel comfortable doing. If not, again, we can swiftly move on, and I'm happy to speak next.
I think that's a great idea. I'm always happy to share. I did it last night, which pretty much made me realize I was in a man's circle last night. I was facilitating the man's circle. That's kind of where someone else proposed that question. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely a bit jittery. there's just a lot going on right now. I am in the process of trying to buy a house, and I feel like the power is within the bank's
Yeah, Holmes.
Yeah,
hands.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible place to be.
Yeah, so it's just horrible. Just they could literally say no, and then it's game over. And a couple of
Oh,
houses um, have
been snapped up.
already, yeah, they've fallen through, and
Yeah, it's quite hard house buying. It's a lot of moving
it is.
plates.
Yeah,
So
and
totally agree.
I was also chatting last night about trauma, and trauma is such a weird word because we consider it as a big thing. But we were chatting, um, his description of trauma, which I really like, is how it makes you feel as opposed to the actual thing itself. And certainly when houses fall through, they are traumatic because you get your hopes up and then you just come crashing down. So it's like confronting to have that trauma in front of
Mhm.
me, and it could happen all over again. Some dreams being squashed.
Oh no, because you do build up like an emotional connection to the house, even if you haven't quite got it yet. Yeah, I
yeah,
see that.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I just wanted to pick up on a word that you said. You said it'll be game over. Um, Now, I completely understand. I'm a homeowner myself, and I've been in a situation where houses have fallen through. Do you? I know we put a lot of we it's a really long process of going out and finding that house that you love and that you can see yourself in, and you can see developing a home. But at the end of the day, that is still just a pile of bricks. It is still just paint and plaster. Why do we put so much emphasis on materialistic things rather than living in the moment and using and doing things like meditation, like you mentioned, or doing things that genuinely better our lives and better our mental health? Because yes, I understand that going for a house and it not working out can be very stressful and very um, upsetting. But if we strip it back and look where what we already have in our lives and be I don't know, be grateful. I'm not saying don't sound like don't be ungrateful, but if we look at what we already have in our lives and try and put us more energy into those things, and then we can maybe look at houses. Yeah, it'd be really nice to get it, but if we don't get it, it's not the end of the world. It's not game over. We have all these other things that we can be grateful for, and we can move on. And it's just one of them stepping stones in life.
You literally, well, again, if you'd spoken to me before my journaling little session earlier today, that's in a nutshell what I came back down was
Yeah,
refocusing gratitude, and the simplest someone I watched a YouTube video I think ages ago, and the simplest way I always try and narrow it down is, am I choosing love or am I choosing fear? And
Am I
in
choosing love?
fear, that was controlling that thunderstorm build-up because I'm fearful of something hasn't happened yet. I don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah,
it's very much fear. So after
Yes.
that, I refocused on gratitude and love. And that's kind of what I'm moving forward to kind of combat those those
Those emotions.
beliefs.
Well,
Yeah.
I get it though. In your mind, you're going to build up that positive image of perhaps this will be my new place. This will be the place where my children will play. And so I can totally get it. I
yeah,
understand having it fall through may not be, ideal, but like Alan said,
yeah,
bricks and mortar, everyone's fine.
yeah. But that feeling of this is one of the most important things in my life. It is that could be exactly the same for a 4 year old. That could be that chocolate bar in that corner there is the one thing that will make me happy. I need that chocolate bar to put a smile on my face, and mummy and daddy aren't giving me that chocolate bar, and then you go into a complete meltdown. and it's all relevant to that situation. Um, like I get that quite a lot with my children. We're really open about how we're feeling, and um, I encourage them to tell me when they're upset, even if it is with me. And exactly that's the situation. Most of the time is because I won't give them a chocolate bar for breakfast, and to them it
Awesome.
is the most important thing in their life is no, I want the chocolate bar. You don't understand how much I want this chocolate bar.
Uh,
And it does come down to that relevant in that situation. Yes, you want it, but you don't need it. You still be
sure.
happy without it.
I've been there. Yes, many a time.
Yeah,
Toy shops are the worst. Taking them around a toy shop. I want this. I want this,
yeah,
Daddy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Every single
every
item.
single time. Every time. Yeah, just don't take them. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that because yeah, it is really good to just talk and yeah, if we'd had this probably last night, I wouldn't have really known
How to deal
why,
with it.
yeah, what was really going on. But yeah, it's I don't know what's kind of going on, so it's just kind of figuring out how to regulate
Mm.
those kind of or make sure that the fear doesn't overpower the overarching like love and
Sure, I'm so bad at this, perhaps realizing why I'm upset or angry. So, yeah, it's something I could work on.
Yeah, I agree a lot with that. I'm trained to be a counsellor.
Nice.
Just I felt like that was just the next stage I wanted to take in my life. I wanted to support as a father specifically. So I'm trained to be a counsellor, and the one thing that I I've struggled with is self-reflection, is being able to step out of the moment and realize why something's upsetting me or why I'm angry about something. And doing this course has definitely helped me sort of become more aligned with that. But I fully agree that there's still times where I have a complete meltdown over absolutely nothing, like a little chocolate bar.
yeah.
Yes, I'm totally the same.
Yeah.
So what course was this, Al? Is this a
Um, I,
counselling course?
I've done my CPCAB level 2 in counselling.
Nice.
I am partway through my level 3.
That's awesome.
Fantastic,
That's
yeah.
really good.
What
Maybe,
sorry,
sorry,
I
I was just
just
going to
wondered
say,
what led you to kind of go for that.
Um, well, I can go quite dark now if you want. If we
I
are
don't
going,
think
I can.
yeah.
So I think I'll speak a bit more about why I've set up my own company a little bit later on. But the reason I've started the counselling stuff is it's basically because of the company that I've set up. I work for an organization at the moment where I've traveled the world. I'm an agricultural engineer. I build life support systems or water filtration systems for marine life.
Well,
So build aquariums, fish farms, that kind of thing. I've traveled to really exotic places. I've worked in the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. I've worked in Saudi Arabia, Norway, Portugal, just to name a few. And
Yeah.
it was at the time, I mean, I've been there for nearly 20 years now, off and on. And what I found was it's a very toxic, masculine, misogynistic, um, at times racist environment.
mm,
And I found that I kept getting drawn back there because of things that had happened to me in my childhood, some traumas that happened to me in my childhood, and that abusive sort of behavior was familiar. And that familiarity, even though I knew that it was dangerous, I knew no, that's toxic. It's almost like a safety net of this is what I've known my whole life, so this is what I want to do. And it's only in the last 2 years that I've discovered this. Somebody on the counselling course sort of pointed it out. But that is the reason why one of the reasons why I wanted to get into counselling is because I want to support fathers specifically. I want to feel like I'm making a difference in the world, but also if the business I've set up doesn't work out how I wanted it to, I then have a safety net where I can carry on doing what I love and I don't have to go back to my old life.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
20 years, Al. Quite some time.
yeah it's yeah,
Quite some time.
been a very,
Did you
very
see
long.
one up the Burj Khalifa? That must have been pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh,
So inside the Burj, there's a an aquarium. So as you walk into foyer, there's like a big wall that is a that is yeah.
aquarium. Wow.
So the company I work for, built that. So obviously the public are
That's
one
so
side,
cool.
and the other side is where the prince or the king dines, and everything on the other side of that wall is gold plated, like you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so
you
cool.
he can see out, but you can't see in.
Yikes. Oh, Al, sounds like you lived quite an interesting life then. Lots of fun
Yeah,
traveling.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's got me about. I've seen things that I wish other people would have the opportunity to,
Mm,
but also I've seen things that I wouldn't wish my worst enemy to see.
mm,
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, as obviously like I said, I've worked in the Burj in Dubai. Another job we've been part of in Dubai is doing a little aquarium at the bottom of a ski slope in Dubai called Ski Dubai, where there's emperor penguins at the bottom.
yeah.
Our company built the system to keep them going. Um, but then I've worked out in Saudi Arabia, and the 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 abuse on humans, in that nobody should ever undergo that kind of trauma and that kind of abuse.
Hmm.
But in those kind of countries, the motto is life is cheap.
Wow. Whew.
That was
Yeah,
really crazy.
yeah,
Is
and
that,
it's not something I would ever want anybody to see. Obviously,
hmm.
I've seen a few things. I don't really want to talk about what I've seen, but it's yeah, that kind of thing has no place in our world.
I think this is a great example of how when you kind of hear these stories, your first instinct is just like, wow, that's amazing. You're so lucky. What a
Just
glamorous
like I
life.
did.
And also in my head, I was just like, oh, I
Yeah.
can see Welsh histories in 100 years' time going, Aled, well, built the Burj Khalifa or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
as often
And yeah,
possible.
you wouldn't consider, everything else that goes on, behind the
No,
scenes, or in this case, not so much behind the scenes.
But
Modern day slavery.
is it quite isolating?
Oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah, it can be a very lonely place. I think the first time I went out to Saudi Arabia, I was told I was going for 4 weeks. I was there for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Um, and it was, yeah, I was 20, 24, 25 at the time. And even though, when you say I was in Saudi Arabia and I was living in the Prince's Palace, I was getting chauffeured to and from work every single day. Um, and there was a swimming pool right outside my bedroom door. Sounds absolutely fantastic. But the reality of it is, we were chauffeured everywhere because, as a Westerner at that time, you were not safe to be there.
Mm,
We had Gurkha security, which followed us around everywhere because we weren't safe to be there.
right.
Um, when
What
you
they do to you all? Kidnap you.
At the time, I can't remember what his name was. There was a British man who was beheaded live on TV.
Wow.
And we were there a year or two afterwards.
Wow.
So there was always a fear of, if we are seen out and about, there's not likely to happen, but there is a chance. So which is why we had our Gurkha security with us, which is why when we were in when the prince's palace is heavily guarded, and when you were there, it is like a prison because you're not allowed to go anywhere by yourself.
Oh,
Food is cooked for you. You go to a little restaurant on his grounds, have your food. You go to your bedroom, and that's it. And that's your life.
Mm.
Is you get up, go to work, come home, and
and you were
it's
a young man as well. No going out on the piss, nothing
no,
like that.
no, it's an alcohol-free country, so
Yeah.
there's nothing like that. Yes, it's yeah, it sounds glamorous, but it's no life. It's not anything I would um suggest to anybody.
Mm. That's really hard.
Whew.
Yeah, really hard things to kind of see. Again, another great example of those things that probably still you live with, and another layer of those kind of traumas that you have to work through.
Yeah.
Um, and were you a dad at the time, or was it when you were much younger?
No, I was dad at the time.
No?
I have four children, two from a previous relationship. They are 18 and 19 now.
Okay.
And then I have two children with my wife, and they are 7 and 4. We've been married for 10 years now.
Well,
So
so
yeah, it was obviously working away, that kind of thing
I was going to
has
say,
yeah, has really difficult
yeah,
effect on relationships as well. We didn't last long. We were young as well. That had a big factor to do with it. We shouldn't have had children when we did, but being that young, you think you know everything.
yeah,
Mm.
But yeah, unfortunately, I still see my children from time to time. A couple of times a month, that kind of thing. Um, but we don't have that really strong relationship like I do with my younger two,
yeah.
because I wasn't there for a lot of it because I was working away so much.
Well,
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your first child, Al?
I was 21.
Hmm.
Yeah, still a child myself.
mm, yeah, big time. That must
Yeah,
have been and living away
No.
as well. And again, you don't have to go into the details if you don't feel comfortable. But anyone else going through that kind of similar, isolated, and yeah, big change in your life.
yeah, and that is a big change. And that is, I mean, what buying your house like you're trying to do and
Mm,
having children are the two biggest stresses you'll ever go through in life.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, so it is really difficult. And at the time, you think that there's nothing else after this. You do start to have a lot. You can have a lot of negative thoughts. I definitely did.
mm,
Um, it turns out that we weren't right for each other anyway. It wasn't a great relationship. We were, like I said, we were young. Neither of us had really lived. We didn't even know what we wanted from life. But at the time when we broke up, it was devastating.
mm,
But it
mm,
turns out that it was the right thing to have happened. Um, yeah. So yeah, um, yeah. I don't really want to talk about them too much because I don't like talking about people if they're not here to like give
yeah,
their side of it as well.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was difficult for everybody.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on something else that I've been thinking about a lot, and it's when we share humans, men, women, non-binary, when
Yeah,
we share things, isn't there a weird kind of social awkwardness when we try not to put blame, but there's obviously blame, but it's trying to communicate that in a non-aggressive. I feel like there's stages. Is like stages of
What
grief
do you
and
mean now?
anger, and then you kind of go through the stages that you can communicate without blame,
Yeah.
with really complicated things like that. How again, I've gone off on a total tangent, but something popped into my head then when you said talking about people. Um, I think talking as men
Yeah.
is talking when we talk to people who are strangers, and counseling is a great example, isn't it? Talking, you can do it unemotionally
Yeah.
because the person receiving that information isn't going to react.
Yeah.
And that's some of the magic, isn't it, in counseling? Am I right?
Um, I think it's that non-judgmental element of counselling. I think what people really can. I don't want to say enjoy because I don't think anybody really enjoys counselling.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that is the benefit of counselling is it's a non-judgmental place where you can go to somebody that you don't necessarily know, and you can divulge your deepest, darkest secrets, and you don't have your mate going, "Oh, I can't believe I did that," or "You did what?"
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
just, yeah, okay, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. You're allowed to feel like that, and let's talk it through, and let's help you understand why you feel like that. Because, like I said, there's as men, typically the overwhelming feeling is always anger.
Mm,
Um, and I definitely see that myself, especially when, like going back to when me and my ex split up, there was that the anger was the first thing. And I think it has a real sort of correlation, especially with breakdown of relationships. And I think that has a real correlation with bereavement because a lot of stages of bereavement are exactly the same as what you would go through in a breakdown relationship. It
yeah.
is that initial angry, and some people, especially around suicide as well. I see a lot of families who suicide, especially it's the anger of I can't believe they did this. Why didn't they just talk?
Yeah.
And it's that I was angry with a person, and then you start to break it down, and then you start to realize, okay, maybe there are other reasons why this has happened. And I think grief and breakdown relationship are very, very closely linked when it comes to emotions.
Mm.
Never considered that before, but yeah, looking at it now, it does make sense. You can see
Yeah,
the similarities.
yeah.
Do you think men go to anger first because that's what we've been shown? Because
Um,
me and Stefan have spoken before about this, about crying and how it's just such a big. I used scared of crying, which I wasn't sure if that was quite right, but such a barrier to be
yeah,
able to open those floodgates. But we're capable of it because we're humans.
yeah.
But to actually initiate it is not the first kind of point of call. Do you reckon that's because we've just never seen men cry and we've seen them get angry?
I think, yeah, again, I think it's a very much a historical thing where, and I'm sure we're all roughly on the same age and we've all grown up with the same ideologies from our parents would say, big boys don't cry, big boys, big
Yeah.
boys don't show emotion, suck it
Yeah,
up.
man
Um,
up.
yeah. And I feel now like I have this, this going to sound really cheesy and I hate saying it, but I almost feel like I have this superpower right now where I have the power to change the next generation. And I do it a lot with my son, where we openly talk about our emotions, about our feelings. I'm a little bit the same as you, Glenn, where I struggle to cry. I struggle to show that when I'm upset. Um, but when I'm with my boy, well, my daughter as well, but it does feel a bit like girls are it almost feels like it comes more natural to girls. And that may be the wrong thing to say, but I don't know whether that is something that's historical as well. But with my son, I try and push the point that it is okay as a boy or as a man to cry.
Mm.
And he's really emotional. We use a book called The Color Monster, where he can tell me if he doesn't know what he's feeling or why he's angry or why he's upset, he
Awesome.
can associate a color to
Yeah,
it. So he can
that's
say, "I'm
really cool.
red or black or whatever color he wants." But it is about giving the next generation those tools to say, "Look, this is how I am feeling," and being okay, feeling okay to express those feelings and being able to say, "Look, I feel sad. This is why I feel sad. And I don't care what you think. This is how I feel, and that is okay for me to feel this way."
Yeah.
Arnold, I think you're doing such a wonderful thing, such an amazing thing, and such an important thing as well. So I want to
Thank
say thank you. Good work. Keep it up.
you.
Can I ask a question as well to go on top?
Yeah.
Do you cry in front of your son and your kids?
Um, no,
No.
and that's not because I don't want to. I would,
So I'm the same, not that I wouldn't want to, but
yeah,
I just can't physically.
yeah.
I know I don't want to sound macho or anything, but I
It, it almost
couldn't.
feels painful to want to cry. It gets to that point where it is this overwhelming pain in my behind my eyes that I want to cry, and I know I'm emotional. I know that the feelings are there. It's
I
just
just
that,
can't get out.
yeah, just I
I
can't
can't. Yeah,
get
I'm
past
the
that
exact
barrier.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And then other times I'm an emotional wreck and I can cry. But
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's weird. I guess it depends on my tiredness. I think that has a big impact. If I'm tired, yeah, I'm incredibly emotional. Emotion goes straight up. But yeah, I guess it depends on a lot of different factors as well.
yeah.
But yeah, in
Well,
general, be able to cry in front of my children.
I'll be honest. The last time I cried was at a TV program, and it was because it was so close to home at the time.
Mm.
I think it's called This Is Us. And the scene was where the house is burning down, and dad and the mum are outside, and dad gets everybody out, but the dog's still in the house. So dad runs back into the house, into the burning building, saves the
Mm.
dog, and everything's fine. But he goes to hospital, and you dad and mum are there having a moment, saying, "Can't believe he ran back into the house for the stupid dog," this, that, and the other. And she goes off to phone somebody to say that everything's okay. In that time, he dies of a heart attack because of smoke inhalation. And the rest of the whole series is the development of that family with having lost the father from the family, how the children grew up and the people they become and the trauma that they experienced through losing dad. And at the time, it was when I watched it, it was about a year after I attempted suicide. And that was the last time I cried because it was so close to home. Like, this could be what my family would be experiencing now if
Yeah,
I had succeeded in what I was trying to do. And that was
thanks
really
for
difficult.
sharing, Al. Wow.
Yeah, it was really difficult. And I
Yeah.
haven't watched it since. I keep meaning to get back to it and watch it again, um, just because it's such a powerful program. But I've still not quite got the courage to go at it again.
Well, I can't remember the last time I cried, but it is usually something to do with television or films related. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird how that emotion comes out from past memories and what have you.
yeah.
Or if something's really, really, really sort of nice and very positive, and it's like, yes, this is great, life is amazing, tears of joy. One or the other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, good.
Two thoughts that popped into my head when you chatting there was you know that moment where your boy, we all have sons, uh falls over and cries. Is
Yeah.
there is there a thing that you do or say to normalize? Because I think it's so important for other dads. Because toolkits, you don't know what to do you, in those moments? Because you want to be a superhero and you step in and stop the tears. But how do you hold space for allowing them to explore that emotion?
So you would it have to be the son? You specified son there.
It's only because we're talking boys. Again, I think lots of these things. My second thought is about different boys and girls in a second, but this I'm just using boy and girl to be honest. It's again emotional intelligence, but
Yeah.
specifically boys because I've seen it in parks where I've seen dads do that thing. They start crying, then they go, "Get up, man up, come on." Well, not quite man up, but come on, shake it off, you're fine,
Yeah.
and just straight on it. And how do you hold that space to let them explore that emotion themselves whilst also handling your own uncomfortableness?
Yeah, I've been guilty of that as well. Get up. You're
Um,
fine.
I'll tell
But
you what I can tell you what I do. And I do this not just with my boy, but I do this with I've done this not with my eldest two. I can't remember what I did with them. It's been such a long time. But especially with my younger two, um, what I do is there's real power in silence. And that is something that they use in counseling a lot is the power of silence is just so
it
powerful.
allows them to talk then, does it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if they do fall over and hurt the knee or if they are upset about something, it's just embrace them. Just I just grab them, pick them up, or give them a hug, and just hold that hug for 30 seconds to a minute. And by that time, they've either started to calm down and realize that, okay, there's nothing broken, there's nothing seriously hurt, they are just upset. And then just, are you okay? Is it getting better? And that it generally is, yeah, it's okay. It's
Oh
starting to get
no,
better.
I'm okay, Daddy.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do this thing with my daughter who's just turned 5 on Friday, where I just throw her up in the air several times, and 10 seconds later, she's laughing.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's the Steph method. Listeners at home, yeah, feel free to use the Steph method.
I think a lot of it comes
Well,
down to parents. You know your kids best, and
well, yeah, you would.
sometimes it is a
Yeah.
little bit of a come
You can
on.
tell. You can tell when they're just, complaining and want a bit of extra attention, or
Yeah,
you can tell when they're genuinely hurt and in
I
need of some support.
I love the holding thing, and that's pretty much what I do. But because I'm a verbal person, um, and I really find it hard to, in that instance, I'm very good at holding silence, but in that instance, you just want to say something. So I normally say let it out, and I can just repeat that as like another little tool. Just let it out,
That's good.
and then it gives me something to say. Um,
See,
and
I'm the same. I'd need something to say. I think I would
yeah.
automatically go to say something as
Mm,
opposed to letting silence do its magic.
yeah.
I don't want this to come across as the wrong way, Stefan.
Mhm.
But what you've explained is stereotypically what men do, and I don't
Yeah,
mean that in a bad way. I mean
yeah, no, it's
when mothers experience the highest level of oxytocin when they are nurturing children. Fathers, their highest level of oxytocin is when they're doing rough and tumble or doing that play. So it makes sense that when your child is upset or crying, that you go straight into that rough and tumble and play because that is what releases oxytocin, not just in you, but in your child as well.
mm, yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think I do it subconsciously as well, without even thinking, just to see a smile on her face.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think you're right, 100%,
yeah.
100%.
What about you, Glenn?
What?
Oh, you said
I,
you hold, but
yeah, the hold it and say, let it out. My other thought that I wanted to circle back around to, which I am intrigued to see if either of you have any ideas here. But so I used to work in empowering girls to get into STEM, science, engineering, maths, which fantastic. Probably still nowhere near where it should be, but it's started. I really hope it grows. And I've been really focused because I have a son and a daughter, really focused to make sure my girl can be a princess and also an absolute badass. And so far, I feel really good that she's kind of that balance. What really helps with that is because society has seen that that's an issue, something that we want to address. You can just see in Disney, Bluey, both characters are girls. Those are my favorite things because you got powerful women.
No way.
Do you guys know of anything other than perhaps some books I can think of that give role models to boys? I can't actually think of any.
Um,
Nothing recent, anyway.
Oh, because I'm thinking of
yeah.
Brave, and the dad's just there drinking and fighting, and the boys are running around being
Oh, yes.
nuts.
Have you seen the film Crudes?
Cruise.
Crudes, where it's Nicolas
Oh,
Cage.
Croods. Yeah,
Crudes,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, right at the end of the first one, Dad sacrifices himself to save his whole family. He survives in the end, but big spoiler alert. Um, it, that for me was it goes from being somebody who didn't want change within his family to then accepting change and letting his family go and then saving them. So that to me was, yeah, really
Good
good
film.
movie.
Crudes. How'd you
True.
spell that?
Croods.
Yeah.
Crudz.
No, I think it's CROODS.
Crudes.
Crude. It's
Crudes.
like back in the Stone Age.
Yeah. It's Nicolas Cage in it.
Okay, got you. And it's a role model for like how to dad.
Maybe
Yeah.
not on purpose, but
Yeah.
I
They
took,
think
yeah, I took it from it.
And I guess Bluey is also a great role model of how to be a dad. I was thinking more of the
so.
like the son's perspective of like when they're watching TV, they actually still just watching boys, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's actually no real evolution of that in the media that I've seen.
Well, do you think the dad in Bluey is a good role model, or do you think it is an unachievable goal for fathers? Because I
Ooh.
sometimes look at a dad and I think this gives every father a bad name because there's no way you can compete with him.
Yeah, it's a good question. I
That
think
is a good question.
he seems like quite a chilled dad, which
Yeah,
I think is fairly achievable. But yeah, I've seen it on social media where everyone loves, the dad from Bluey just because of how amazing he is. And he is a legend. He's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah,
Bandit, I think his name is. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
You're
yeah.
right. They never really show any like meltdowns. There is one episode that I can think of where he's on the beach and he's like distant and withdrawn, and they never really go into it, but he he reconnects. So there's one episode they kind of pick up on, I guess, male withdrawn behaviors. But you're right, most of it is just like he's having a good day, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's doing fine.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't, yeah. I can't think of any Bluey episodes off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch more.
I was just thinking of Disney, and I was like, actually, there's not great
There's a,
male role models for my son in any of the princes.
we had
Really,
an episode, didn't we, about male role models? Can't
what did
remember
we
which
come to
one it
the
was.
conclusion of there? Any
What did
books? Any good books? Either you can recommend?
Uh,
about role models?
Yeah.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because it's fairly subjective, and I guess certain people would be more into certain people.
Mm.
Um, check out your local library, guys. That's my
Nice.
hot
If you're in the
tip.
Cardiff area, look up Steph, is
Go in
it?
the Cardiff area, jump on in. Cardiff
Um,
Hubs and Libraries.
but talking about role models and looking at these fictional characters,
Mm.
why not look a bit closer to home? I mean, the work that you guys are doing in raising awareness around male mental health, do you not think that itself would be a good role model for your children or for other fathers who are listening to this? Because I definitely think it is.
Yeah.
That's why I do the work that I do, is that I hope that I could be a good role model towards others as well. So maybe we should
It's
not
very
look
kind of
at
you.
fictional characters, but look within
Yeah.
ourselves. Like you guys
Right.
do a fantastic job, and maybe you should maybe look at that and say, maybe I am a good role model already.
See, I can't see myself do it. Like, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, am I? Am I really a good role model? Who knows, you know? But hearing that, Aled, oh, amazing work. Thank you. You can come on again every episode. But yeah, do I consider myself a role model? Well, for my children, hopefully, and I'm trying my best. But there's still that element of doubt, nagging doubt in the back of my head. What am I? What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Who
Yeah, I think
knows?
that's human, though, isn't it? I think that self-doubt is definitely to be human, and I don't think anybody in the world doesn't have that. Um, but surely, in doing what you are doing, and raising awareness, if you do nothing else, that is being a role model to your audience.
I'm quite fortunate because I do love my job.
Yeah.
So I think that goes a long way. Enjoy the job you do.
It
And
reminds
if
me of last week's episode where we were talking about self-worth, and I don't think we got to the bottom of that, and definitely something to
no,
be.
we didn't do we? What did
No,
we say?
but again, it's so nice to hear that you see us as that, because often it's really hard to appreciate.
Actualize.
Yeah, yeah, and realize that self-worth, what you bring in. And I
Yeah.
also loved your framing of you feel like you're a superhero because you have the superpowers to show to change the next generation. That's
Yeah.
such a cool framing
Yeah.
for
That is
anyone
awesome.
to because it's hard work, isn't it? Being that superhero, putting in the effort, going to the uncomfortable place,
It,
self-realization, self-reflection, and
yeah.
then putting in real effort to try and change those
Making a conscious
behaviors.
effort as well, you know,
Yeah,
and growing from your mistakes and becoming better.
Uh,
And it's
I, if any, the people who really know me know that I do not take compliments well. I do not think I used to have quite a low opinion of myself, um, and I guess to a certain degree still do. And then I would say it's only been in the last month or so that has sort of flipped a little bit, and I wanted to share why. So earlier I said that I run my own company on the side, which is called How's Dad, Stigma Dad, and I support fathers dealing with mental health through one-to-ones, stay and play sessions, and keynote speaking and signposting. I've been doing this for 2 years, and in those 2 years, there are four men that I have had to go out to in the early hours of the morning um, because they have been in active suicide. I'm really lucky to say that three of those men are still with us today. Three of those men are still with their families. Three of those men are doing really, really, really well. And for a long time, I wouldn't wouldn't acknowledge that I'd done anything. I would just say, yeah, that they're here, and it's just one of them things that we do.
wow.
Um, but it was a friend of mine um, sort of changed my mindset on it recently and said, just stop and think about what you have said, or think of it a different way of What would you say to somebody if they just said that to you? And it changed my mindset to, well, actually, maybe I am, maybe I am a role model. Maybe I am making a difference. Maybe I am somebody that can feel important because there's three people that are still alive because of the work that I've done with them. So it is. I know it is very, very difficult to be humble and to accept compliments and to have any sort of. I guess there's the risk of it coming off naive, isn't it? Is or obnoxious if you start being overly humble and overly confident in what you've done. But there's nothing wrong with saying, do you know what? I am making a difference and I feel like I can be I may not be, but I feel like I can be a role model to the next generation.
No, spot on. Spot on. Yeah.
Genuinely amazing. Again, this first time we met, but just looking at the stuff that you've done online, I hadn't even realized you've been going for 2 years, and with those stories as well, just gives that is such an impact that you've had
Yeah.
in the work that you do. It's amazing. It's genuinely amazing. And I
Changing
just
people's
wonder,
lives.
if you can talk a little bit about the the business. I know time's getting on a little bit, but talk a little bit about the business and in the scope of where do men go when, these thoughts, suicidal thoughts, these dark moments, where do people turn to? Are your business is there geographically, and
Yeah.
what else is out there?
Um, I would love to sit here and tell you that there is an abundance of people out there who support men and fathers, and the reality of it is there isn't many of us. There isn't many of us who do what we do. There's a couple down your end, Bridge End, Pontypridd kind of way. Mark Williams is a good friend of mine. Um, Bickle Jacob is also from down that end who work a lot with just men. Mark does a lot with postnatal depression. And it is when I started my company, that was sort of the route I was going down because I suffered with postnatal depression. It took a long time to be diagnosed, and a lot of healthcare professionals didn't realize that men can get postnatal depression, and yet the numbers are almost exactly the same between men and women,
Yeah.
and yet it's not something that we openly talk about.
Yep.
So when I started this, it was to focus more on that and try to raise awareness. I had no idea that it would explode after what it has.
Mm.
When I Before I even had the concept of the business, I was where it came from was I was looking for an AA meeting kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Somewhere I can go and talk to other guys about how I was feeling as a father.
Yep.
And I couldn't find anything. And I just happened to think, I just thought, why don't I put something out on Facebook? Say, I'm going to go for a walk with my children. If any guys want to come out and meet me and we'll have a chat. And if more than anything, it was a place to meet other fathers. So I didn't feel so isolated and so alone.
Yep.
And I had hundreds of messages overnight
Wow.
uh,
Wow.
saying that they wanted to come along, wanted to have a chat. And it kind of exploded from there. And I decided, after speaking to Mark, that I would create a business out of it. And I'll be honest, it has been really difficult. It's taken its toll on me mentally, especially having to go out to those individuals that I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Because as a private company, there isn't that support for me.
Mm.
So I said at the beginning, I've been out to four, and three of those individuals are still with us. That fourth individual, unfortunately, he didn't want help. He knew what he was doing. He just needed somebody to to find him.
Yeah.
And I happened to be the person that he contacted. And when I arrived, I'd obviously phoned the emergency services and everything like that. There was no support for me. There was no, do you need anything from us? Do you need any help? Do you need anybody to offload to? There was nothing. It was just, okay, thank you. Be on your way. We don't want you to be in this situation anymore.
Mm.
And that was sort of the last bit of contact I had with them.
Um,
Um, so I've had to sort of go and find, I've had to go back into counselling and just to sort of work on myself and just make sure that I would keep myself safe after dealing with something like that. I was okay, but um, it's always better to when you've been doing this for a while and you've already been through a suicide attempt, you kind of realize that you need to put the barriers in place to keep yourself safe before you even start having those thoughts of wanting to do something. And that's what I did was I decided to go back into counselling, work through it as a preventative measure before anything came of it, and that's where we're at the moment. But yeah, it's such a it's a difficult role. It's a difficult thing to do, but my own suicide attempt gave me a purpose in life, and it feels like that purpose is to support others and to raise awareness around suicide prevention, and postnatal depression, and just make a difference in the world. Because I've always said, in the short amount of time I'm here, I need to feel like I've made an impact. I want future generations to be able to look back and say, that was my great granddad, that was my granddad, that was my dad
yeah.
that helped change that. Um, and I'm thankful to say that things are changing up here in North Wales. It's definitely made a difference with the health visitors of North Wales. They are actively contacting fathers now. They're having a lot more referrals from fathers. And I've said that, I've been out to 4 people, 3 of them are still here. What we don't realize is the impact we've had on the people that are still here that haven't told me
Yeah.
that they're active suicide. The people that I've contacted, I've worked with, and I have no idea what has happened since, but I know that I had an impact on their life, and I hope that that is something that you guys can take from this as well. And anybody who's doing this sort of work in podcasts is, yes, it may feel like you're coming on and just talking to a friend and just having a chat, but what we're talking about is something really powerful and has a real meaning. And even though you can't necessarily see it, you must be aware that what you're talking about has a real difference in the world, and it is making a difference in people's lives. So when I say you are role models, you guys don't see the impact that you are having on the wider community because they aren't phoning you up, they aren't coming to you actively and saying, what you spoke about last week or that episode that you spoke about this changed the way I think about things. So I think you guys need to be proud of what you do.
Diolch yn
Diolch
fawr.
yn fawr, Alan.
Yeah, diolch yn galon. That means a lot. And yeah, it is a really nice realization. And just a reminder of how important
Because I hadn't
one
really
of us can play a
considered,
role. Sorry?
you know, I hadn't even, considered that, it could potentially be helping lots of people out with lots of different issues and stresses and things. So it's good to come to that understanding and realizing that yeah, it's a good thing that we're doing.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think if we can all change something, if we can all make a little bit of difference in supporting somebody else or changing somebody else's life,
Yeah.
the world will be a far better place.
Absolutely. Well
Agrees.
said.
Yeah, it would.
I've always said that I want to leave this world knowing that I've made a difference. I know that I've left it in a better place than I've came into it. And I feel like if I was to go tomorrow, I feel like I've achieved that.
Wow.
I'm not going to stop.
I think you've inspired me, really. That's a good motto for life. Leave the world a better place. Yeah, okay. Maybe I could take some things from this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I hope people do, and I hope people listening really do. Use that as their mantra, their motto going forward, um, and they actively try and make the world a better place. And I don't want it to sound like I always conscious about saying things like that because you hear some people saying, "Yeah, that sounds really cheesy or really corny,"
Yeah.
but
I
I
think
genuinely believe that just
yeah,
making a small gesture a day or changing one person's life
it's
not only
huge.
helps them, but it gives you that sense of I have helped that person. And it makes you feel better about yourself.
People do get a lot of self-worth from helping others as opposed
Yeah,
to taking, you know. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a good thing.
yeah, definitely.
I feel like it is such a powerful note to end today on. It is truly inspiring, what you've just shared and everything, the strength that you show, um, and the vulnerability that you show, is inspiring. And I know that it has impacted so many lives. So likewise, right back at you. That
Thank you.
the your life's mission, you are doing fantastic things. You are making a real difference. Um, yeah. Do you have any final thoughts, Stefan Aled?
I just want to reiterate what you said, Glenn. Yes, keep doing what you're doing, Al. It's wonderful to have people like you around. It's you're doing great work, and yeah, you've inspired me to do more. So thank you.
No, thank you guys. Yeah, I always enjoy coming on to these types of podcasts because I never, like I said at the beginning, I never want to script anything. I don't want to follow sort of a plan because I always find that the free flowing of the conversation is so much more powerful than trying to bring it back. And I think even though I'd had a couple of things I maybe wanted to talk about, I feel like what we have spoken about will definitely impact many people listening to this. And I really do hope that if people are struggling, if people do need a bit of help, that listening to this will encourage them to reach out and get that help.
Well, we'll just have to get you back on.
I think so. Yeah,
Definitely.
100%.
So, if today's chat resonated with you, know you're not alone. Reach out, talk to someone, and mainly just make sure you take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. We'll be back next week with another podcast and chatting about more things dads